It's the Samsung Galaxy A55 versus the Galaxy S23 FE, a much requested video, and it should be. It's an interesting video, perhaps a more interesting video than I thought it was going to be. Availability is one thing. Obviously, the S23 FE is readily available here in the United States. If you're overseas or if you're on T-Mobile, the A55 will, no issue getting it. Pick it up on Amazon. It's going to work fine on T-Mobile. I've been using it. Of course, overseas, you could basically use anything. 2G phones at this point still work overseas, so that's more of the discussion. The biggest factor between these two devices is going to be price. If you're paying $600 for the S23 FE, I would say hold off. Samsung has made it readily available at different price points, especially over the holidays. You saw this one down around, what, $400? That's the one that you should be getting it at. That's kind of the sweet spot for the S23 FE. If you get it on a carrier deal or something like that. If this device is $600 and this one's sitting at $449, don't pick up this one. However, as much as I like the A55, I will say this. If they're the same price, if you're looking at in the 400s for both of these, then I would pick up the S23 FE over the A55 for a couple of different reasons. But don't forget, Samsung is a lot more aggressive dropping the prices of the A series than they are the S23 FE series. So the A55, you'll find this within maybe even a few weeks, $375, $350. By a few months from now, you're going to see it at $325, in which case, run, don't walk to pick yourself up an A55. But let's talk about the two things. Performance between the two. Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 in here, Exynos 1480 in here. Now, I've had no problem with performance on both of these devices. Really nice, really smooth, really poppy, all the rest of it. I've enjoyed my time with both of these. I will say, gaming-wise, the S23 FE is a bit better. A couple different things. Number one, you're going to run Genshin and some of your AAA titles on medium settings as opposed to low settings. Now, they still run smoothly over here. The A55 is no slouch. It'll still run your Genshin. It'll still run your Asphalt. It'll still run all these games, your PUBG or whatever, at low settings, nice and smooth. This one gets you medium settings, so you get that more powerful processor there. 8 gigs of RAM in both, so that's really not a differentiating factor. The other thing for gaming or just preferences in general, if you enjoy the Samsung poppier display, that's still alive and well on the S23 FE. It is not on the A55. They've gone for more than natural tones on the A55. Also, the S23 FE gets a bit brighter than the A55. So that's the thing. If you use it outdoors a lot, you'll notice the brightness is a bit better on the S23 FE in practical use. Size-wise, 6.6-inch display here, 6.4-inch display over here, 1080p on both, 120 hertz on both running well, so that's not something that you're going to factor in. But you're going to get support, obviously a little bit less support on the S23 FE just because of the age at this point, but it's not. Both of them are going to be supported. One UI, no problem. 4 years, you're going to get your updates, you're going to get your security patches and stuff like that, so that really wouldn't sway me one way or another. Build quality is an odd one as well because technically the build on the A55, the cheaper phone, is better. You're getting Victus Plus on the front of this, where you're getting Gorilla Glass 5, I believe it is, on the front of the S23 FE. Aluminum frames for both. You get the brushed aluminum over here on the A55, where you're kind of the sandblasted aluminum, plus a little bit more of a rounded edge on the S23 FE. Overall, the S23 FE is a more pocketable device, if that matters to you, whereas the A55 is the bigger device, kind of more in line with the flagship devices. Really nice flat edges, sharp edges, and a bigger display. So if that's really what's important to you, then you're going to want to pick yourself up an A55. Camera, I'm going to put up this one shot because we've been getting really in the weeds with the camera stuff here the past couple weeks. It makes me nauseous. This is what you're going to get. The A55 image is closer to what I saw, both in color and tone and all the rest of it. It is a little drab. The S23 FE photo is clearly the poppier one. They punch up the colors. It's the regular Samsung saturation that you're going to expect. However, there is something goofy about the S23 FE camera system. When we reviewed it for Android Police, the people who reviewed it were talking about this. The editors were talking about how the camera system gets a little soft. And you could see it on the edge, like the pool tube that Pusheen has on the S23 FE. It has a habit of hyper-focusing in on a subject and kind of making the rest of the image soft. So while you get that poppiness and that might look better to you, you might prefer that, you might want that, that's fine. Understand that I think overall the A55 gives you a better image. The S23 FE gives you the poppier image. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Other big differentiating factor between the two, because this is running the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and this is running the Exynos 1480, this one, the A55 is a bigger battery. It's a 5,000 versus a 4,800 milliamp hour battery. However, you're getting 2 to 2.5 hours more of screen on time. About 6 hours over here, but you're going to sweat for that. 8 hours easily. So if you're somebody that needs your phone for work, if you're somebody that has a long day, if you're somebody that hates battery anxiety more than anything, because neither one of these is going to have the fastest recharge time, 25-watt wired recharge. You do get wireless charging over here with the S23 FE. But if battery is a major factor for you in deciding between these phones, the A55 is the one you're going to want to use because you're going to get significantly better battery life. This is phenomenal battery life. This is a really great phone to use. There's some things about the S23 FE I like better for a price, right? All things considered, $200 on a carrier deal, both of these, something like that. Equal price, I'm probably going to take the S23 FE. However, if this is more money, I'm not spending more because the A55 gives me plenty for what I'm paying for it. Micro SD card slot on the A55. You keep that over here as well. So that's a budget feature or a mid-range feature that Samsung kind of sneaks in there that remains on the A55. So it's a curious discussion indeed. If you're a gamer, if you need that saturated display, because games are supposed to have those poppy, ridiculous hues, right? That's the point. You know, games, your fantasy colors and all the rest of it, you don't really want realism when you're playing one of these games, especially mobile games, okay? So if you're a big gamer or if you absolutely have to have that poppy display, the S23 FE, as long as this price is equal, is going to be the one you're going to want to pick up. However, overall use, bigger display, micro SD card, significantly better battery life, and slightly longer support, you're going to want to pick up an A55. Region matters. Like I said, you're outside the United States, you could pick up one of these. If you're inside the United States, you're limited to T-Mobile. So it's an interesting discussion for sure. I thought it would be more of a blowout. I really thought the A55 would kind of take it from the S23 FE. However, I could see reasons why you choose both of them. I could see reasons why, as long as you're paying like $400, $450 for the S23 FE, why you might prefer it. I could also easily see reasons why you'd want to pick up an A55 for $449. And like I said, you know, Samsung's really aggressive. If by spring, May, this isn't in the threes, I'd be shocked. Because last year, I think it was less than 2 months later, you were looking at $375 for this. The first sale brought this down to $375. Subsequent sales, $325. If you're getting that anywhere near that price, buy an A55. Don't think twice. You'll feel like you're carrying around a flagship device with the battery life, with the screen, with the performance. All the rest of it, you'll be just fine. However, if today you go into your carrier and they have a deal, or if you go on Amazon and you see this for $450, to me, I'm picking up the S23 FE, but I like both of them. I like the battery life over here. I'm not a huge fan of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Not a huge fan of it. I really wish they would have gone with a Plus model, the Gen 1 Plus. I think they would have been phenomenal. This would have put this device over the top. But for $600, I ain't having it. I'm getting myself an A55. So conflicted for sure. And if this video comes off that way, it's because I am. And unless you have very specific reasons, like you're a gamer or whatever else, to spend a couple dollars more on an S23 FE, then you're going to get 99% of what you want out of a smartphone out of this A55. So don't feel bad about buying either one of them. But all things considered, if the prices are equal, I'm leaning slightly towards the S23 FE. If you got to pay more for it, get yourself an A55, especially if it's available in your region. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.